Welcome to MINDSHOCK. This is your host, Bruce McGuire, and we are taking a look at a film that just came out of nowhere. That perhaps I was a touch hasty in declaring the absolute end of action movies in Hollywood, or perhaps not. We will be examining that within the realm of this release, The Wrecking Crew 2026, featuring Jason Momoa and Dave Bautista, former WWE wrestler. I was not a fan, by the way. But anyway, we will be examining all of this and how it all stacks up to the golden age of action movies, the 80s and 90s. In typical MINDSHOCK fashion, with logic and reason at the forefront, attempting not to fall for any logical fallacies. If you want to help support the podcast, you can donate to our PayPal. Check the link in the description. Make sure you're subscribed, like, and share. Twitter, Facebook, Reddit, and Patreon. Patrons do get priority for case topic logical analysis, co-podcast requests. You could also be a guest on the podcast depending on your tier. Questions, comments, theories, thoughts, suggestions, rebuttals, debunkings of any kind. Leave them in the comment section. Unless, of course, you're with us here live. Then drop them in the live chat. I will try to get to all of them. And you can also become a YouTube member right here on YouTube. Help support the channel that way. Alright. So who has seen this? Perhaps some semi-spoilers. I'm not going to really spoil the plot too much. I don't like to do that. But if you haven't checked out the numerous episodes I've done on the demise of Hollywood and Western civilization in general. Does life imitate art, or does art imitate life? Or is that a false dichotomy, and it is some kind of an overlapping Venn diagram of sorts, in which case, when was the line of demarcation for the decline? I have placed that at 2011. As I think there is a clear difference between everything pre-2011 and post-2011, perhaps more so than pre-9/11 and post-9/11. Because the early 2000s were actually not that terrible. Not that terrible, and also not that different from, let's say, 1999. Was 99, 2000, 2001, 2002 all that different? I don't think so. Was 2008 quite a bit different than 2011? I think so. Than 2012? Yeah, kinda. Was 2013 that different from 2012? Maybe not. So that's the line of demarcation I have delineated as 2012. And we've constantly gone over like what happened to action movie stars. You had the Arnolds, the Stallones, the Jean-Claude Van Dammes, and of course the Steven Seagals. Just action icons. But even like B-tier guys, like Michael Dudikoff, some of the B-tier guys were still pretty solid. Gary Daniels, Don the Dragon Wilson. I mean, he might be more in the C territory, but yeah, I mean, there was quite a few guys that were pretty solid. Definitely better than the soy gophery we see today with the what's his face, Ryan Reynolds and all these goofs, like these soy goofs. The soy gophery is off the chart. Yeah, let's not forget Dolph Lundgren. I don't even know, is he A tier or B tier? He's probably right in between A and B tier. So yeah, I went over 80s versus 90s in many capacities and versus today. Chuck Norris, yeah, Chuck Norris definitely A tier. And yeah, so today I actually forgot about Momoa. I really did. Actually, no, I didn't. I think I mentioned this one particular movie. I mean, we didn't discuss him at length. There was a film. I don't remember which podcast. Perhaps it wasn't on the 80s, 90s action star one. This one is slightly beyond the line of demarcation. But this was one of, and I actually saw this in the theaters. This is Bullet in the Head, which was kind of Momoa's coming out party. Sort of a passing of the torch from Stallone to Momoa. This came out in 2012. I mentioned it before. It was one of the last solid action movies. Actually, you know what? I'm kind of curious. It came out February 1st, 2012. So that means they shot it in 2011. So perhaps my theory still holds because the world was in 2011 when they shot it. Okay, when they shot the movie Bullet in the Head. Anyway, for those that haven't seen this, like, Momoa is pretty solid. So I had only known him from Baywatch Hawaii back then. And then he came out with this action movie. And since then, he's actually had some solid work, although quite uneven. But the missing component here from all these guys, like, for example, John Cena. We went over the Cena Illuminati humiliation rituals and all that stuff. Because Cena's quite ashamed of his first run in Hollywood with movies like The Marine, which were vastly better than all the complete trash he's coming out with now. And then, of course, The Rock was once touted with The Rundown, was that 2003? And Arnold Schwarzenegger had like a little cameo there. That was supposedly a passing of the torch, but The Rock has probably been the greatest disappointment. I think Walking Tall is probably the only semi-decent movie he's ever done, action-wise. Like, what else has The Rock done that hasn't been hokey trash? Actually, I stand corrected. I did watch Conan the Barbarian with Momoa. But the problem there, well, I don't even remember. I don't remember much from that movie. Does anybody remember that one? Now, the problem is with that movie is, like, how is anybody supposed to fill Arnold's shoes there? I mean, it's kind of tough to do, and I think Momoa has actually bulked up significantly even since Conan. But there's just no comparison. There's just absolutely no comparison to Arnold. And back then, Momoa didn't really have the charisma that he developed in Bullet in the Head and onward, and in The Wrecking Crew, it's on full display. But look at the previous batch of so-called action stars. I mean, Statham was probably the closest, other than Boyka. Scott Adkins probably the last hope for action movies, but he's done a lot of bad movies and yeah, low budget schlock. I mean, he's probably closer to C/D tier. No offense. I mean, he's physically capable. His acting's pretty terrible though. Momoa is actually pretty decent. But you have all these other goofs here, like John Cena. I mean, just zero, absolute zero charisma now or acting capability. In his first Hollywood run, he was actually he was actually half decent. Like, probably one of the worst pro wrestlers of all time. But as an actor, he actually wasn't that bad. You know what's funny? A lot of these pro wrestlers that are terrible, like Hulk Hogan, they're actually half decent actors. I actually did not mind No Holds Barred with Hogan. That was pretty decent. And of course, Thunder in Paradise, one of the greatest TV series of all time, for those who haven't seen it. So yeah, Cena, pretty terrible nowadays. The soy goofery's all over the place. Even the guys with muscles, like Cena or The Rock, they just have zero actual charisma. And Batista also, not really any charisma. Half decent actor. I mean, for, like, let's say BC tier, his acting's like semi-passable. But Momoa is probably the last legitimate hope of action stars. Like, there's a decent amount of testosterone, And yeah, I mean, he's kind of. I don't know about his fighting skills either. They're not that bad, but he doesn't pretend to be that great either. But the comedy, I mean, this movie Wrecking Crew, it's actually like this weird bamboozle of a, I don't know, in certain ways an homage to the Lethal Weapon movies and some of these just bonkers action movies of the past that don't make a whole lot of sense, but they're just highly entertaining and amusing comedically. So it is I do find it kind of weird that this movie even got made because it's sort of kind of anti woke. There's still obviously they still threw a bunch of degeneracy into this movie, but that aside, I mean, not as bad as others, but that aside, it actually was kind of entertaining and funny. Something I can't say about I mean, when was the last Hollywood action movie that was entertaining and funny? Maybe Top Gun. Tom Cruise probably the torchbearer of real Hollywood action movies at this point. But for those that haven't seen, so Momoa is also all over the place. He's doing Minecraft movie. Obviously, I haven't seen that. The Trainer, haven't seen that. I don't think he has a big role in that either. Fast and the Fury, he was in a Fast X, which he was pretty terrible actually in that really hokey, just really terrible movie. And yeah, there's just no consistency. I mean, Momoa probably the last hope for Hollywood action at this point. Out of the new guys, and he's not even that new. That's the thing. He's already in his 40s. I mean, physical prime already gone. I mean, obviously, he can make a couple of more good movies. Yeah, he should definitely do something with like Jean Claude Van Damme or Stallone again. But he really hasn't done much really solid action work. He does like kids movies, Slumberland, where he's like kind of fat. I mean, just look at this. I'm gonna put up a screenshot here. I mean, I don't know if this is humiliation ritual or what. He has some kind of horns or something in this movie. And he's kind of fat. But yeah, it looks like he was practically squandered until this particular film in The Wrecking Crew. So this is from Slumberland. I mean, I don't know what kind of wacky character he's playing here. Hardly oozing of testosterone in this particular movie. I don't know if this was a humiliation ritual movie, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know. But for those who haven't seen it, another movie I completely forgot about and have never mentioned on the podcast is Road to Paloma, which was 2 years after Bullet to the Head. That was 2014. That was actually quite an interesting movie. Definitely had some 90s vibe. Definitely had a 90s vibe, this particular film. But yeah, with when the action stars left, I forgot this guy's name, the guy that plays Spider-Man, this like scrawny little soy goof. And then Keanu's alright, but he's also a million years old now. So yeah, not a lot of hope, and I definitely was not expecting the Wrecking Crew to be good in any way, and yet it was, and yet it was. It was bonkers action, really hilarious, a lot of violence and fight scenes. Quite the fight scenes were pretty well done too. There might even be a Jean-Claude Van Damme joke in there. A lot of homages and winks at the action genre, which makes it even that much more shocking that not only did it get made, but if it could get made, where are all the other movies like this? As of late January, it was the most watched movie on Prime Video worldwide, which is interesting. Wrecking Crew is also a movie from the 60s with Sharon Tate, where Bruce Lee was actually the fight coordinator or fight advisor or whatever they credited him as. And he actually trained Sharon Tate a little bit. There might even be a Marilyn, a Charles Manson connection. But anyway, yeah, so the movie's just like, other than what's her name? Marina Baccarin, who I don't know how she gets any roles. I mean, call me crazy. Call me crazy, but zero acting skills. Uh, Complete bottom of the totem pole when it comes to looks wise for an actress in Hollywood. I mean, flabby and fugly. I don't know. Call me crazy. Call me crazy. Like maybe a solid 2. Don't even want to guess what it would be without the makeup. But yeah, I mean, just absolutely terrible character, terrible actress. I don't know how she gets any work. But other than her, the movie is pretty solid. I'm not a big Bautista fan either, but his acting was passable. But Momoa is obviously the real star, and begs the question, like, where has he been and what has he been doing? And he also actually did a TV series, The Red Road, which was actually pretty good too. So, yeah, he's had some decent work here and there, but nothing really. It was kind of weird because after Bullet in the Head, people were kind of expecting. Because he did Conan before Conan and then Bullet to the Head. And then nothing. I mean, he had a brief stint on, maybe not that brief. Wow, 78 episodes on Stargate Atlantis. I didn't even know that. And he also did North Shore 2004 2005. I forgot about that. I guess he was sticking consistent with for Baywatch Hawaii, the Hawaii the Hawaii area. And actually, Wrecking Crew also takes place in Hawaii. Yeah, the Red Road was 2014 and 2015. But yeah, Road to Paloma was interesting, and then that's pretty much it. Oh yeah, I remember Braven from 2018 was pretty garbage. That was pretty garbage. Let's see. He was in Once Upon a Time in Venice with Bruce Willis? I don't even remember his character in that one. That was a terrible movie. And then, of course, Aquaman, but that's, you know, comic book crap. Actually, wasn't that horrible, but yeah. Yeah, I mean, he did a few TV series, Frontier and Sea. I don't think, I haven't seen either one of those. But yeah, hardly 80s, 90s style action. So, so yeah, really not much. Not much. Not much. So he's in the Supergirl movie. He's gonna be Blanca in Street Fighter. That's interesting. In the new Street Fighter, yeah. So he's probably not gonna do much pure action, I guess. Man, the trailer is out for the new Street Fighter movie. It's coming out this year. I mean, obviously, it looks like garbage. Looks like complete garbage. To nobody's surprise. But yeah, anyway, this one particularly entertaining. Where would I rate it? So out of a 10, I don't know. I'd probably go 8 out of 10. There's just a little bit of too much degeneracy in there, but par for the course for Netflix. But nowhere near as much as the typical Netflix crap or streaming crap, whatever. Is this Amazon Prime or Netflix? Whatever. Whatever streaming company. Modern streaming companies buying out the Hollywood studios. So yeah, I'm actually surprised nobody pointed him out before. But Hollywood's last action hope is not doing much. Not doing much. Just teased the potential with this particular film, and also Road to Paloma was pretty decent. Yeah, Flat Bob. Not a lot of people in here right now. I guess nobody cares about what happened to Hollywood. That or YouTube's not sending out the notifications as usual. But I think people would still see it. And again, if you're not on Patreon, even the free tier will give you the updates, all the updates, notifications, etc. So yeah, I was just surprised by this film. It's kind of out of place, but did pretty well, pretty popular. And one Illuminati theory, of course, they don't want any kind of high testosterone 80s, 90s style action movies or action stars motivating the youth or that 18 to 30 plus demographic. They want them soyified and goofified. But yeah. Flat Bob. Condolences to Flat Bob. Loss in the family. I don't think there's any real I don't think there's any really way to process that. But just to round out this review here, on the Wrecking Crew, these are two half brothers. Father is killed. Typical mafioso. I mean, not Italian mafia, but there's mafia gangs, criminal enterprise, and a whole lot of madness. There's no real twist. Actually, again, not spoiler. I don't know if I would call the ending a twist. A twist, surprise, reveal. I guess you'd call it the reveal at the end. Definitely left a bit more to be desired. And the ante's not that insane on all the action either, but it's just very, very solid. Very, very solid and surprising. And the writing is actually funny and semi-intelligent, and it doesn't look like everybody just phoned this in. It's like people actually tried for this. Instead of this looking like a first draft movie, I kind of mentioned that before, whereas most movies these days, they're all like first draft movies, like they were just made from the first draft of a script. And, lack of soul, lack of everything. Like, this one is probably the most hopeful action movie in terms of competency, delivery, entertainment value, etc. It's still kind of visually, the cinematography is still pretty bland. It kind of looks like everything else, which is another reason most movies are so blah these days. There's no real chiaroscuro going on, or like an attempt at such a like more dramatic lighting or any of that stuff, high contrast, none of that. Everything's just lit so uniform in every single movie nowadays. But yeah, if you check this one out, leave your comments and reviews on it. But very, very shocking, surprising. This one kind of slipped through the cracks, I guess. Let's see who directed this. I don't even know. Jonathan Tropper. Oh, my bad. That's the writer. The director is Angel Manuel Soto. Puerto Rican guy. He's done okay. Let's look at all these movies. He's done quite a little bit of. He's got quite a little bit of stuff. Looks like it's mostly all in Puerto Rico until Blue Beetle. Didn't watch that one. It's the guy from Cobra Kai. Yeah, it looks pretty bad. Okay, then he did The Wrecking Crew. So yeah, interesting. Very interesting. Definitely be interesting to see what he does next. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Is this a slip through the cracks type of movie? He's got Just Cuz coming out based on the video game. So, yeah. Man, what happened to just originality? Everything's based on a video game. So, yeah, if people have followed the podcast, we've been going on about 80s, 90s, 2000s, where Western society all went wrong, where Hollywood began to crumble, the cesspool known as Hollyweird. But even Hollyweird had some cool stuff back in the day. Whereas now it's just all a cesspool of degeneracy. And even The Wrecking Crew is not exempt from having some of that in there. But again, it was quite a surprise. I found it quite surprising in its quality. Somebody mentioned Afterburn, a post-apocalyptic movie with Bautista. I'll have to check that out as well. I'm going to have to do an entire podcast on post-apocalyptic movies, but I did one on the zombie variation. If you haven't checked that out, you could check it out. So, best of luck processing Flat Bob there. And, yeah, we'll see if there's anything else there, but definitely just a small handful of films post 2011 that are decent, let alone good, and definitely very, very few in the action or buddy action movies. I mean, obviously there's a lot of garbage out there in the genre, but in terms of quality, it's been slim pickings for more than a decade. More than a decade. Why that is? It's probably an Illuminati conspiracy, like most things. Hope everybody enjoyed another edition of the MindShock podcast. This is Bruce McGuire signing off. Catch you guys next time.